Thank you, Dean Cronk, for such a wonderful introduction. And if you don't mind, I just want to share a little bit of project data with you all so you understand how big of a deal Terry McMillan truly is. Okay. Over the course of the list that was published from 1994 to 2010, Terry McMillan was ranked a total of 44 times across 6 novels. Every single novel that she published during the Essence Bestsellers run was ranked on the list. Those books include Mama, Disappearing Acts, Waiting to Exhale, How Stella Got Her Groove Back, A Day Late and a Dollar Short, and The Interruption of Everything. 5 of the 6 novels listed all peaked at number 1 on the list. And the very first issue published in 1994 featured all 3 of McMillan's books that were published at that time, Mama, Disappearing Acts, and Waiting to Exhale. Further, this just blew my mind when I realized what happened. When Waiting to Exhale was put onto the big screen, it reappeared on the Essence Bestsellers list in 1996. That is an unheard of thing if you understand how bestsellers work. They usually don't have a second life in the ways that we know Waiting to Exhale has had 2, 3, 4, and 5 lives at this point.
I hope I have a second life.
And so I just want to acknowledge what you were able to do, because your work before the Essence Bestsellers list existed, created a space that demanded that we have a list, that took a snapshot into the reading priorities of Black communities. And so the next thing that we are going to do, I'm going to toss it over to Miss, I can't call you Terry. I have to call you Miss Terry. Or Miss McMillan.
Okay, I don't mind.
Okay. So I'm going to hand it over to Miss Terry here, and she's going to do a reading for us, and then I have some questions that we will get into.
Okie dokie. It's nice being here, wherever I am. No. I haven't been here I've never been to this university before, but all I know is it's very nice to be here, and I hope to come back again. It's a great campus. It's a great campus. And one of my BFFs teaches here, Bernice McFadden.
Another Essence best-selling author.
Is she?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm just messing. Yeah, she is. She writes circles around me, I can tell you that much. But anyway, I'm going to do this. I'm going to read. I hope I don't make a fool out of myself, because I have, I always do different versions. I don't know which one this is, but it's not long. So if I hear you snoring, just tap that person, okay? But it's called Discount Love. It was going to be a novel, and then I decided, but I don't know which one. It's not long. Okie dokie.
All right.
I like the title myself. Been there, done that. Okie dokie. And thank you all very much for coming. This is a great campus. Who are seniors?
Woo!
Who's been going here since they were a freshman? Cool. Okay. So, and I just want you to know, this is called fiction. It is not real. I haven't had sex in almost 5 years. But it could be 6. And being old has nothing to do with it, if you count being 55 as old. Hell, who am I fooling? It is old. But last time I checked, I wasn't dead yet. Wait a minute. I forgot. I missed my birthday last year because Marlene, a good friend of mine, decided to unplug her ventilator because she said she wanted to take a permanent vacation and one that didn't require that she use her frequent flyer miles. So I think I'm still 54. But I really don't care how old I am, because I'm trying to focus on what I can get out of each day instead of worrying about how many I might have left. But this also depends on how much I put into it. I admit it's getting easier since Curtis, my husband of 30 years, decided he wasn't too old to fondle with women half his age and my age, but I had stopped liking him anyway because he was dull and had lost what little personality he had left, because he thought aging meant you stopped thinking about your future as if it just disappeared, but Curtis was always old. So I don't know what he did with that young woman, the woman who was young enough to be his daughter, except die. And she thought she was going to get all his money. But she forgot he had kids and grandkids, and he paid their college tuition and bought them cars and condos and more cars and more condos, and I was the beneficiary because he decided all those women hadn't made an investment in him, so why should they get a return? He lived and breathed stocks, and he was also a genius, but he was a stupid genius. And I didn't care because I had my own income, and he hated that I didn't rely on him for anything except love, until he stopped having more fun sharing his, started having more fun sharing his. And the other thing that shocked me was when I found out after all these years, Curtis still had me in his will and a beneficiary in his insurance policies. But he did me a favor when he died because I had stopped liking him, and he had stopped caring about me because he hurt me and pretended like it was an accident. Even our grown kids didn't like him because they realized they couldn't trust him either. He thought he could buy their way, buy their love, but the kids grew up and didn't like the discount. I look good for my age, if I do say so myself, but it's from good genes, and they say black don't crack, but that's not true. If it was, I wouldn't need so much lotion to get rid of the beige freeways swirling up and down the back of my legs, and can't even bring myself to look at my naked body without thinking it looks like two brown pumpkins. I have a gym in the house, but working out with people on a television isn't much fun. Plus, they're all fit. With one token thick black girl who can cheat and an instructor who doesn't even know it. In fact, sometimes I just take a tuna sandwich and watch the instructor, and then fake fit outfit with ponytails and tiny behinds, and by the time I work up a sweat, class is over. I am not trying to lose any weight. I like being a size 12. I also sewed my way around and away from my ex-husband because I had good taste, but I was also too stingy to spend my money on designer everything when I could just make it. Growing up poor, I learned how to sew, which also became my hustle. A lot of people don't have good taste. Not that it's important, but how you look in public says a lot about you. I can size up a woman in a nanosecond just by what she's wearing. If she is wearing the clothing or if it's wearing her. If she cares about color, style, even how she walks. I don't walk the same in jeans as I do in a tight skirt. I don't walk the same in pumps as I do in 3 or 4 inch heels as I would in boots. I do not wear cheap shoes. Hell, I don't wear cheap anything unless it's a markdown and I know about markdowns, which is why I opened my shop in the first place. A lot of things are overpriced. And I believe in being fair, which is why I sell expensive things at a discount. And I can't believe that I still have feelings in places I was warned not to expect them anymore. But everything doesn't die as you age. And my heart thumps like it's thick because it's just been waiting for a reason to get excited about something besides what I watch on television, which is mostly Netflix and Hulu. Ernest thought I was shallow, and maybe I was. But I swam in the deep end, and I've been thinking about all the things that I used to do that I don't do anymore. and can't understand why I don't. I'm not dead. In fact, I decided to reincarnate myself once I realized I was like a rubber band. I could stretch myself in any direction I was curious about, and if I didn't like it, I could snap back and try another path. I liked being divorced. It gave me an opportunity to get reacquainted with my old and new self. But I do not want to waste any more of my good energy thinking about my dead husband that I discovered I didn't even like. I learned a long time ago that you can fall in love, with somebody and realize that you don't like them. He was not even that good in bed. I mostly liked the way he touched me and the way he smelled like hot mint and sometimes like hot caramel. But he was a good kisser, no doubt about that. And his lips were smooth and firm, and he had the softest tongue, which he knew how to move like a snake. His legs were like hairy, thick baseball bats, and his ass I loved to rub up against until sometimes I went blind and shivered, and he didn't even know what happened. I have had better sex since then, but now I don't think about it as much as I used to. And even though I belong to a gym, when COVID invaded the United States, I stopped going and invested in a few pieces of exercise equipment. I admit, I enjoy looking at the videos more than I do fumbling with the knobs. In fact, I have lost quite a few friends, and the only time I've been in the hospital has been to visit other people. I think I still might be healthy. I don't take any medication unless Geritol counts, but I watch my sugar, which is why I stopped taking that diabetes medication, and my numbers are good. Plus, I walk every day. And owning a resale shop helps me stay young because back in the day, I used to model a little bit before my hips decided to spread, which is why I hired young and middle-aged women and mostly gay men to run it because they have good taste, but I handle the finances. And I realize I am shallow, but at least I know it. Most people who think they're deep aren't. Sometimes there is only one level, and it's the one you see or the one you're in. I do like to help other folks look good, because if you look good, you feel even better. I also like to help people surprise themselves when they agree to try something new instead of what they're used to. I should try it. Although I have come to realize that I don't like to try new things. I don't dress to impress anybody but myself, which is why I know I am shallow. All I want to do is try to add some new layers above and below my heart and my mind and my soul and make other people feel good when they look in the mirror, even if there is no mirror. Thank you. I forgot, I was supposed to bring the one that had dialogue in it, and I didn't.
We are grateful for what you gave us. Those characters feel real.
This is a sign of old age. Okay? Thank you.
Those characters feel real. I saw the actions. I saw the store in my mind as you were reading. I want to ask you, when you're writing these characters, do you know where they will go? Do you know if they are destined for the big screen? Do you know if it's a short story, a novel, whatever it is, when you first come encounter with?
No, if I knew that, I wouldn't waste my energy. I mean, the bottom line is, first of all, I almost apologize for this because, I got here, I think it was yesterday, and I brought two of the same versions. So I wasn't really planning to read this. There's no dialogue in it, as you it's a little embarrassing, but too late now. Ask me another question.
I will. Well, this question is for me, so y'all just humor me. What do you make of bestsellers lists? Do they matter? Is that a thing? Did you ever look at them?
Yeah, I got a new car.
Okay.
I mean, I'll put it this way. I mean, I'm being facetious, but the thing is that most writers, I mean, there are thousands of us that don't get on the bestsellers list. And you can't judge the quality of somebody's book based on that. Mm-hmm. And I've been on it quite a few times, but the bottom line is what you want is for people to like your story and to get something out of it. Hopefully something that they can identify with, mm-hmm. or that they can use. But, you know, you have people who are always on the bestsellers list. And, you know, I mean, I feel fortunate, but I also do my best to try to promote other writers. Mm. Because everybody's not getting on the bestsellers list.
Right.
And, you know, to some extent, it's not exactly, and it doesn't exactly represent the best.
Of the best.
Of the best. No, it
Right.
does not. Go to independent stores and look at their lists. Mm-hmm. But also, you just want, I mean, I started writing fiction because I was confused about a lot of things, and I didn't understand why we treated each other the way that we did, and why people hurt each other, and why people lied to each other, and all of that. And I just thought, this is just, what a waste of good energy, mm-hmm. to treat other people like this. And what happens when you love somebody and they break your fucking heart? I mean, your friggin' heart. I'm serious. I didn't mean to say it like that. But you know, writing fiction is, it's really about unfulfilled wishes to some extent. It's like it's something that we wish we had or could do or see or feel or think, and a lot of us don't. But like when you get your heart broken, when somebody you know dies that you loved, what can you do? Sometimes nothing except grieve. Mm-hmm. And my thing is life is supposed to be long, mm-hmm. but no matter how long it is, it still feels too short. And whatever we can do to make each other laugh or smile or clap or have an orgasm, whatever, do it. But take other people into account. And whatever you can do to make somebody else feel worthy and better, do it. Because we're all we have.
Okay, this question I think it's going to flow nicely from your answer, but it's going to take me a second to set it up. Okay, so one of the interviews that I've done in the past was with Virginia DeBerry and Donna Grant, who's an incredible writing duo. If you haven't read anything by them, I suggest that you take a look. And they brought a term to my attention. They call it the Tony Terry problem with Black books. And their definition of this term is that either Black authors are expected to write in the vein of Toni Morrison, in the sense that her work feels like academic language turned intellectual judo on a page. Or they write like you, where you are intentionally approachable to diverse audiences. Your work is overwhelmingly commercially successful, and it sparks important conversations about relationships and cultural norms. Yes, it does all of that.
Who wrote that? Did you write it?
I wrote that. That is my interpretation of what Donna and Virginia have to say.
That's not true. I hate to break that to you.
Well, break it down for me.
That's not true. You heard of Bernice McFadden?
I have.
Well, hello. She's one that can write her butt off. No, we don't. When we tell stories, we aren't thinking about sociology. Mm-hmm. It's an emotional thing. We're telling a story. That's what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And every story does not apply to everybody.
Okay.
I mean, come on. Some silly. No, I don't mean. I'm not calling you silly. Don't take it that way. But what's unfortunate is that a lot of people like to group us together, and our work does not necessarily deserve for that to happen. All of us. I mean, even Bernice, her work, she's got her own voice. I wish I could write like her. Okay? And I can't. That's why God invented her. Okay? And a lot of us. There are so many writers, and not just African American writers. I mean, there are writers. Ann Tyler. I can read Ann Tyler 20 every day. There are so many writers out here that we all tell stories the way that we tell stories. And if we all sounded the same and wrote the same type of stories, where would we be?
Right.
That's like if every musician that wrote rock and roll, if every rock and roll song sounded the same. They don't. So we have to show respect to each other. And that's one reason why I love walking into a bookstore, and there's thousands of them, thousands of worlds. And you can pick the world you're ready to jump into. And I respect a lot of other writers. And I read writers that I don't necessarily know, or I want to, but I want to know. I'm nosy. Most writers are nosy as hell. You know?
Researchers too.
Pardon?
Researchers too.
Researchers too. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Speaking of nosy, I wanted to ask you about something that happened back in 1994. You gave a talk with John Edgar Wideman, and in that talk, you talked about how after Waiting to Exhale, you hit a writer's block, and it left you feeling scared, unqualified, and lazy. And you intended.
I said that?
Yeah. I didn't think it was very kind to yourself about it. You said that, but you said that
You know how many years ago that was? I was not in my right mind. No, go ahead.
But you said that you intended to write a story about two brothers, one that went to jail for killing the other. But and that was what you wanted to write when you were writing Waiting to Exhale, but when Waiting to Exhale came out, the fanfare around it changed what you wanted to write. And we know that the next book that came after Waiting to Exhale was not about two brothers.
I've never written a book about two brothers.
You haven't, and I wondered.
I don't know where that came from.
I was gonna ask, did you ever write that story? Did you write it for yourself? I
don't even know what you're talking about.
Fair enough.
And let me tell you something. The bottom line is, you know how many years ago that was? I'm lucky to remember what I did last week. Okay, seriously, it's like, you're the first person who's ever said that to me.
Okay.
I swear I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. Okay.
But it's okay. It's okay. But,
So it seems like that attests to the ways that the characters tell you who they are and where they're at.
Yeah, and that doesn't sound like a book I would have written. Maybe that's why I didn't get written.
Okay. But you were talking, in that conversation, you were talking about a bunch of stops and starts, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but that was not, I do not recall that being, and there's a lot of things I don't remember, but that was not on my, maybe, I don't know, and I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't drink, so I know I was in my right mind, but maybe I had a slip.
That's all right.
I don't know.
Well, let me ask you about something a little more recent. So in 2022, 8 of your novels got a book cover refresh by Brittany Bree Harris.
Who?
Brittany Bree Harris, the artist. She redid the covers. I think somebody had, some of those covers right in front. You can see some of the covers. Okay,
I see them.
That's the old one, that's the new one. Were you involved? I think I already I got an answer to that question. Were you involved in those cover refreshes?
No.
No.
But when I saw them, I liked them.
Okay. Yeah, I love those, and I'm also in love with the covers from Cynthia St. James, those original ones. Were you involved in the creation of those covers either?
As writers, no.
Okay.
No, I write. I don't design book covers.
Well, you did your own marketing and promotion.
That's different. That's what we're supposed to do. We help promote what we write. If you can get somebody to pay you to do it. Because it's expensive to do that. And a lot of young writers, unfortunately, don't get book tours. And I did. Some of us do. But it's expensive to go on a book tour. And if your books don't sell a lot, publishers don't like to spend the money to send you on places.
So, my next question is, the last Essence Book Project interview I did was with Alice Walker, who maintains that she knew from a very young age that she would be a writer, and that her writing would make her famous enough to be able to archive her work. So my
What?
question, she said at 7 she knew that. My question to you is, when did you know you were a writer? And have you given any thought to archiving your work?
Now, some people here have talked to me about archiving. I'm going to talk to them. It's very smart. Was that you?
It is me.
You look different sitting on the other side of the table.
I didn't have my pink on.
You didn't. And then you're sitting on the side of me. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll see you later.
Okay.
The thing is this, is I tell stories. I make stuff up. That some of it I want to believe, some of it I don't want to believe. And I think stories, telling stories, I mean, my first job, I was telling some folks earlier, was at a library, and I was 14. And books changed my life. I learned how other people felt that I would never meet, what makes some people want to be somebody else, why people hurt each other, which I still don't get. And I got to learn how our worlds are all the same but yet different. And they're all valid. And I learned how to respect other people, and even people who do somewhat bad things. Because some people missed a lot of stuff. And we have an opportunity. The beauty to me of reading stories is that I get to jump inside of a whole lot of different lives. And I think the beauty to me of novels in particular is it helped me be much more empathetic towards other people whose lives were not like mine, or whose lives I wished that my life had been more like theirs. But way back, I haven't felt that way in a long time. And all it really was, it didn't mean that I wanted to be somebody else. I just wanted, the way that I grew up, I wanted our lives, because my mother had 5 kids, and my father died at a very young age. And she was a very good mother. I don't know how she did that. I mean, I had trouble with a puppy. I don't really know how she did it, but she was a really good mother. But, you know, excuse me, one thing that I know, like I said, my first job was at a library, and I learned a lot that we all do not feel or think the same way, that what hurts me does not hurt you. I learned about empathy. I learned that a lot of us as black people, white people, Mexicans, Chinese, and I got friends of all, that we often feel the same way about a lot of things, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, but we all still are different. But I learned a long time ago when I was 14 and I was a little cheerleader, I was the first black cheerleader, that we basically, inside, are all the same.
Yes, but you're also Terry McMillan.
Oh, please.
And so I just want to
Sure, when I wake up in the morning, I look up in the mirror and say, hey, Terry McMillan, how you doing today? Did you empty the trash? Okay? No, it doesn't. I mean, fame is not what it's cracked up to be. And I didn't write books to be famous. Who would have thought it? I mean, give me a break. Who would have thought it? You know? It really isn't all it's cracked up to be.
I want to tell you a little story.
Okay.
Because you see you in your mind the way that you see you.
Well, how else am I supposed to see myself?
But I want to tell you how I see you.
Oh, Lord.
So my mother, sitting right there, Bless her heart. She's a high school English teacher, has been for most of my life.
Okay.
And I grew up watching her read. She is an avid reader. I remember seeing your books on my coffee table and seeing your name from the time that I could read. But what really did it for me, when Waiting to Exhale finally made it to VHS, my parents went out to Blockbuster.
And you snuck and watched that shit.
Well, I feel like this is an okay
get a
day
beer?
to tell on myself because, yes, I did. We got to the first sex scene of that movie, and my dad said, "This is inappropriate for you young children. Get out." And so I waited until he went to work, and I snuck downstairs with the movie, and I watched it. I was about 7, but
You should not have even
I understand.
been interested.
I was interested because
You were nosy.
I was nosy. I told you researchers are nosy too.
You weren't a researcher at 7.
But it shook something in me because the kinds of conversations these characters were having were very familiar to me. Very familiar to me. It was the same kinds of conversations I would hear in my grandfather's barbershop. It was the same kinds of conversations my mom had with her book club friends and everyone else who was reading your books. And then, fast forward 20 some odd years, I'm in graduate school. I got my PhD from the W.E.B. Du Bois Department of Afro-American Studies. I was so excited because I thought that I was going to be able to be a part of those conversations, not as a 7-year-old, but an adult, so that I could actually have those conversations. But that's not what happened when I got to graduate school. Those were not the books that we were reading. And it pissed me off. Mm-hmm. Because when I asked my professors, why are we not reading these books in class? Why are we not, grappling with these kinds of cultural problems that these books bring up? They said, oh, well, that's not the kind of African-American literature that we read here. Mm-hmm. I had a problem with that. I really did.
Well, one of the things I've learned over the years is you cannot expect things from people that don't respect you. And I learned a long time ago when I was told, oh, Terry, your books will never be bestsellers. And I was like, and not only that, but you know what? I wasn't writing thinking that one day my books were going, that was not something that I thought about. Mm-hmm. And until, people bring all that stuff up. It's the story. Mm-hmm. It's the people's lives. It's like if I thought about when I read Virginia Woolf, when I read all the books by white authors, do you think that I was sitting there thinking, gee, these white people are sure different? Or, gee whiz, I can't relate to this woman whose husband just died because they're white. Are you kidding me? No. Bottom line is this, and this is, I don't even have to say it, but we all tick to the same beat. Mm-hmm. When our hearts stop, they stop. They don't say, uh-oh, wait, you're black. Wait a minute. Or you're white, or you're Mexican, or you're this. No. The bottom line is this, we are all here for the same reason, to see what joy and beauty we can leave in the world, mm-hmm. and how good we can be as human beings, mm-hmm. and how we can show each other respect, and what we can add to the world instead of thinking what it owes us.
Absolutely.
And after that, I just want a Happy Meal.
That's fair. We can go get
and
some food.
That's what it is. There are like young people out here, there's some new young writers out here, mm-hmm. and that are really good writers. And am I thinking, gee whiz, they're a better writer than I am? Or, gee whiz, I wish I could write like them? No. Because there's room out here for all of our stories.
Absolutely.
And, it's not a competition. It's not a competition. And, you know, if you can go back and read, I can go back and read a Toni Morrison book from 25, 30 years ago and light up all over again as if I hadn't even read it before. And, I mean, this is a bad analogy. No, I'm not even going to say it.
Well,
No,
we have time for just one more question, and this is just so we know what's coming next from you. So I saw on Twitter, and thank you for your avid tweeting. I am always entertained, and if you don't follow her on Twitter, you're missing out. Oh, I guess it's called X now? Whatever. My question to you, I saw on that you announced that you have a partnership with Lifetime for a slate of new original movies. First, major congratulations.
Thank you. There might be spies in here, so I have to. No, I'm tickled, and the two women who are the president and vice president or whatever, they're really smart. Okay, I mean really smart. They took over, and you know I was shocked when they asked me, and I said, well, you know, I don't tell those kind of stories. You know, I mean, I believe in happy endings, but they have to be earned. And not only that, but, you know, most of the women that I know are smart, and they don't rely on men for their happiness, or women, for those who like women. You know, it's like, it doesn't work like that. And we have other things that we think about besides getting laid and having babies and getting married.
Yes.
You know, but everybody knows that. At least, well, that's my point. You know, there are a lot of other things that we worry about. And what we, you know, and the bottom line is I think that's one of the reasons why they reached out to me, because I said, you know, I don't mind happy endings, but I don't write fairy tales. I'm not interested in that. I want to know how we get through things. I don't want to know how to get laid. That's the easiest thing in the world to get. You know, and what we can add to the world and to our lives, and how we can become emotionally, psychologically, spiritually richer. And hopefully I can help try to add some of that to Lifetime. But also humor.
Yes.
Them women don't laugh.
Well, it seems like we have quite a bit to look forward to, and I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Thank you, sweetie. I love your hair.
Thank you.
Isn't our hair pretty? And that's, and I know that's not a weave. Is it? Is it a weave?
I'll never tell.
Thank you, Jacinta and Cherry. One more round of applause for our amazing speakers.
It's pretty. It's pretty. So we finished?
We're done.
Thanks, everybody. I'm getting ready to catch a plane home. I live in the Bay Area, outside of Pasadena, and I had a very interesting person that sat next to me, this older white gentleman whose daughter goes to school here. And he's wonderful. He's a great musician. He can sing. And I'm hoping that, I know he won't be on the plane on the way home, but I know his name and everything. So, no, but his daughter is a student here. But he's really, it's rare when you sit on a plane that you sit next to somebody you don't mind talking to. I mean, for real. And don't get those baby pictures out. You know, but anyway, thank you very much, everybody.